Hi Real Writers, it's Chris here. Welcome to your August Tarot for Writers reading. I hope that I have sufficiently blocked out the air conditioners running seemingly 24/7 in my neighborhood. So if you can hear a little humming in the background, it's because it's for that reason. It's August, it's hot, and everyone is running their AC. So I'm ready to share your August reading. I'm excited to see what's here. And so I want you to pick, you can just pick 1, 2, or 3, or you can pick by stone. Doesn't matter. This is Amazonite. This is, quartz. It's a quartz point. And this is rose quartz. These are the ones I wanted to share today. But I had when I was making my cup of tea this morning, I don't want to forget to share this with you. Made a cup of yogi tea, and this was the message. Let me see, I hope you can see it. It is, we are born wise, we are born complete. That's a really good message for today. So I'm sharing that with you. So back to our reading. I'm using the Ethereal Tarot by Hughes, which I absolutely love. This is the card I have connected with, and I've tried many different kinds of tarot cards. I often am too distracted by the way that they have altered the cards to express a certain theme, and that often for me gets in the way of the meaning of the cards. And this is, I love the colors, I love the simplicity of it, I love the gold leaf or the gold foil. You'll see when you see the cards if you haven't seen these before. I just love everything about them. I'm a purple freak as well, so I love that these cards have purple. So starting with card number 1, if you picked this card. Oh, nice. So this is the 2 of Wands, and let me pull it forward a little bit so you can see it. The 2 of Wands. Wands in general mirror your consciousness and urge you to take action. So, this means that you have the spirit of inspiration. You have an idea for a story, a poem, an essay, a song, whatever you write, a play, whatever you write, you have an idea. So it's time to move forward. This card is also about planning. So make a plan if you're a plotter. But that said, he looks like he's trying to choose a place to land, right? He looks like he's, where can I jump and land safely? So if you're if you're a pantser and you jump, you'll land on your feet because 2 is balanced. Even so, it does say this card is about planning too. So if you're going to leap, at least plan where you're going to leap, what kind of a risk you're going to take. Because this is also a card of stepping out of your comfort zone and allowing for discovery. So you want to keep this, in your writing, you want to keep this wide open, spacious view, even as you're getting into the weeds of your project. Or these are flowering. This is a flowering bush, little purple flowers here. So if you're getting into the flowering bush of your writing, keep one eye on that spacious, wide open view of your project. You also want to consider your long-term goals here. Who are you as a writer? If you're just starting out, just ignore that question. That's too much for you to deal with right now. Just move forward on your project. But if you've been writing for a while, maybe take stock. If you've just finished a project and you're embarking on a new one, what did you learn? How have you changed? Who are you as a writer? What new skills do you have? What bad habits have you overcome or need to leave behind now? It's time to level up. You've come far. Even if you're new and you're just starting, that's a big leap. So you should be proud of yourself. I'm not just talking to people who've been writing for a while now. But artists, whether that's, writers, but I do mean artists or everyone, should keep learning and leveling up. So This can mean joining a critique group so you can learn from other people. And when you're joining a critique group, don't just pick your friends, your writer friends. Be careful and considerate and thoughtful about it. Pick people who write better than you. Because they will teach you more, they will inspire you and challenge you. If you're just doing it with your friends, you aren't necessarily going to do that, unless you make a pact to do that. And, friendships can end over critique issues. So just be careful that you're with people who can take it and then you can take it from. And by critique, I don't mean being mean. I just mean being honest and truthful about the writing. If you can't take it, it's better to work with, or if you're not sure if you can take it or you need to be better at taking that critique, work with people you don't know well, because then it won't seem so personal. It shouldn't be personal because it isn't. Anyone who makes it personal should be booted out of the group. But it's easier to hear from strangers about your writing than it is from people you are good friends with and care about and have to see at the holidays or whatever. You might want to attend a conference where you can definitely learn a lot. You might want to work with a manuscript editor. I am a manuscript editor. And I can tell you that we want to all of us, when we work with you, we want to teach you things and leave you with skills so that you can take your own editing skills forward with your next project. When you write your next project, we want to give you skills to help benefit you. So as you're writing, you'll notice things that we've mentioned and you'll be inspired to change them. I don't mean listening to that inner critic. That's not what I mean. But people have told me that my voice has popped into their head, or something I've written has popped into their head and said to them, oh, Chris told me not to do this, or Chris reminded me this is a habit of mine I need to shift. And then they shift it and they feel like they're making progress. I don't know whether it's good or bad that people hear my voice in their head. I hope it's a positive thing, but if it moves them forward and it helps them shift into better writing habits, then that's awesome. It could also be that you refine your research practices. You need to learn more about your subject. It can also mean think bigger. I mean, I think you can see that from this imagery. I mean, this guy's technically this is supposed to be a castle. So he's on the, oh God, the word is gone. Sorry, the word is gone. It's Saturday morning. I try not to think so hard on Saturday mornings or the weekend at all, really. He's out here on the balcony, let's say, of a castle. And, the world is laid out before him. And there's water, which means movement and space and progress. So think bigger. Don't just think in terms of your project itself. Think in terms of, as a whole, but think in terms of your plot, the obstacles, your characters, your conflicts. How can you play bigger? Where are you playing small there? Try writing a form. If you're a poet, maybe try a form you think is too hard and you haven't done it. If you're a free verse kind of person, try writing in form. If you are mostly writing in form, try free verse. And honestly, by the way, there is no such thing as free verse, because you are imposing some order on the poem as you write it. You're just not writing in a form. That's basically what that means. You could write in a form you haven't never tried before. So try a 10-minute play, try an essay, try writing a song. These are the kinds of things that will open you up and may inspire the project that you're working on. But also think bigger in terms of what your plans are for your project and your life as a writer. Check in on that. Do you want to give readings? If so, start making connections with people and going to readings before you ask to read. Don't just walk up to someone who organizes a reading and you've never been to it before and say, I'd like to read. They're going to say, who are you? And why haven't you come here before? You have to invest in the community you want to join before you actually join it. Maybe travel to a conference, research an MFA program if that's your thing. You don't have to attend an MFA program. I honestly have to tell you that most of them I'm going to tell you a secret. You don't need to get an MFA. The MFA is really just a 3-year expensive piece of paper you get that says you got an MFA, that everyone wants to check off that box in terms of hiring you for a job, or like if you're going to work at a college or university, or just a job in general, that you have a master's degree. But honestly, I think we're all starting to learn in the world that you don't have to have those degrees to have the skills for a job or to teach or whatever. Real world skills and practice do count for something. What's good about an MFA is it gives you 2 or 3 years to focus on your writing in a community of people doing the exact same thing with professional, successful writers to guide you. That is a lot of bang for your buck, I will say that. Although I will probably be paying off my student loans for my 2 master's degrees till the end of time. However, that said, it was worth it for me for the time and to get to work with the writers that I did, with whom I still have relationships, and I feel very lucky for that. So, research that. If you don't want to do that, you can't commit to that, look for local workshops. Community colleges have them, arts nonprofits have them. Find your state writing association. All states have them. If you can't find it, I'll try to find a link to a list and paste it below. But just Google name of your state writing association. So, maybe you live in Nebraska State Writers Association. Google that. I've probably picked the one state that doesn't have them, so sorry if that's the case, but just do that and they will have resources and readings and events and critique groups and all kinds of stuff, maybe an annual conference, and they might have everything you need to level up right there. This could also mean that you have a decision to make between the plans you had for your writing project and how it's actually turning out. There is often a difference between the project we want to write and the project we end up writing, and you need to pay attention to that and decide, do I want to focus on what I intended to write and get back to that, or is the direction it's moving in a better direction, because that's really where I seem to be going and that must be where I want to go. So do I want to explore that, or am I taking myself way off track and going into a bad habit of mine? So that's something to consider as well. You may be being called to take a risk here and make a change. Again, has it evolved? Are you off track or on track, or have you jumped to a better track? Whatever it is, get clear and move on from there. See the forest for the trees. That's what's coming to my mind. Sorry, there are no trees here. So, that doesn't really work. I can't really say, see the ocean for the drops of water. That doesn't really work. Sorry. But 2 is balanced. So, you're in a great place. You're stable. Just keep checking in and you'll know what has to be done. You just need to be brave enough to do it. Okay, but be patient, explore, and be flexible. This is a lot to ask for, I know, but this is a card that's asking for seemingly contrasting or opposite things. Have a plan, but be open and flexible. Be willing to take a risk if that moment presents itself. I've already sort of said this, but about getting a bird's eye view of your writing, but if you're in the middle of a project or you have a good 50 pages or so, or maybe you have 5 or 10 poems, or you've written an essay, whatever it is, print it out. Don't read it on screen. Print it out and read what you have. I suggest reading from the end back to sort of catch all the little errors, but it'll also read it front to back and back to front. And you'll see how it holds up and how the structure does or doesn't work. If you haven't outlined, then outline. If you have an outline, check in, but see where you can deviate from that outline. This is going to accommodate both the plotters and the pantsers in terms of prose writing. It's August. This is the last push before school starts if you're in school, or kids go back to school, and there are tons of activities. Kids have tons of activities. I know my niece and nephews have a dizzying number of activities. I practically have to make an appointment 2 months in advance to see them. And they're excited and they love these things, so yay. But wow, I don't know how my sister does it. She has a giant calendar in her kitchen that she puts the kids' stuff on in different colors. And even my visit goes on there. I have my own color. It's purple, of course. So, it may also be that you're going on vacation. So take all of these things into consideration. This is kind of whether you have kids or not, whether you're going to school or not, whether you're going on vacation or not. There's something about August that says, last month of summer, I better do what I want to do before, everybody kicks back into gear in fall and things get crazy and intense again. So, make the most of your time, okay? This is the end of summer. So that feeling of expansion and time make the most of it. So if this is where we part company, thank you for watching. I hope you'll watch the rest of the reading though, because I'm discovering lately that all these cards are talking to each other and having similar messages. So if you have the time, keep reading. Well, whatever, keep reading, sure, but keep watching. So on to card number 2. Okay, so what I just said is true. Look at these cards. They're almost exactly the same. How funny. Let me, oh look, here's my tea. I was drinking tea. I'm using this to prop up my cards today. Here's the card. That's hilarious. It's the 3 of Wands, so we're still in the Wands. So if you watch number 1, and now again, if you're still here, I recommend you keep watching because now we have 2 cards that are very similar. You've moved from a starting point, whether starting out as a writer or starting a project, being in the beginning of a project, to moving to even higher ground, the master of all you survey. So I had to pause there for a second. Sorry for the jump. There was a siren. I live in a city. Sirens are a daily occurrence. Okay, so you're the master of all you survey is what I think I just said. And it's the 2 of Wands that got you there, if we're progressing, 2 to 3 Wands. And now you're in a position of power and confidence. So this card means you're aware of the challenges and opportunities ahead, and you are committed. So pausing here to say, well done you. It's a big deal. Committing to a writing project, it takes time. It takes patience, it takes dedication. There can be 10 really shitty writing days for every good one. But you have a plan. And like in the first card, we talked about planning, but you have a plan and that will see you through. Sorry, I had to jump again. Neighbor's dog was barking. Something about this card is very important. So I think all these things mean that if you pick this card, the universe wants you to pay attention. We've got sirens and dogs barking. So pay attention. This really is important apparently. I think I said, I was talking about having many crappy writing days for every good one, because that's just the reality of writing. It just is. Whether you write every day or you write on certain days, whatever your practice is right and good. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. But your plan will see you through. Whatever that plan is that you've created, that will see you through. That and persistence. Persistence is key. And staying motivated even on those really frustrating writing days. So just keep going. Write that on a card. Keep going. Write that on a card and put it somewhere where you can see it. To help you get motivated, you can reread what you've written before this to get motivated. You can read a passage from a book you love or a how to write book, one of those. You can put on some music. Give yourself permission to write something crazy as well. Sometimes when we feel like we're boxed in by other people's perceptions of us or what we think other people will think, or if we're in a critique group or an agent or editor is waiting for your pages, we're boxed in by what we think are their expectations. Don't do that. In this moment, only you matter. Of course, if someone has told you they need you to revise in a certain way, yes, that is a bit of a box and that can be challenging and stressful. But you still can make amazing things happen inside that box. Anyone who writes in form, poets who write in form will tell you this, having limitations can often create incredible, inspired writing. So don't feel worried about that. Perhaps also keep in touch with other writers, join a local group, go to readings, engage with writers on social media if that's your thing, but don't get too sucked into that. So if you know that's an issue for you, ignore that advice. If you're someone who gets sucked into social media for hours at a time, ignore that advice. Instead, stay away from social media. Again, check out your state writing association for events or their conference. But the message here is that you're progressing steadily, so keep it up, keep going. And if you're still watching from the first card, like with that card, keep an open mind and expand your horizons. So how can you open doors for yourself and, create more personal development? You can read about the industry. You can subscribe to Publishers Marketplace and see what books are being sold to who and when and how, and see how the market is trending. I suggest following and engaging with at least 5 agents who you might want to query depending on your genre if you write prose. That again means connecting with social media. That's on Twitter, mostly I'm talking about here. You can, but again, set a time limit, maybe literally set a timer for 20 minutes, and just when that goes off, shut down social media. You can also look at the manuscript wish list. Which is hashtag MSWL or at MSWL, to see what agents and editors are asking for. That's also helpful. Read books by authors in your genre or poets you admire and can learn from. Buy and subscribe to copies of literary magazines where you'd like to submit. Think really big. Like, why not write a fan letter to a writer or a poet and tell them how much and why you admire them and ask for advice? Why not? They might respond. And if they do, tack this up where you can see it. Do this on paper, by the way. Don't do it by email. Do it on paper. People just do not write letters anymore, and it means a lot to get something in the mail. I love getting mail. I have several friends that I still write letters with and share poems with by mail, and it's great. It's so great. It's to sit down with actual paper and read something, and have something tangible in your hand. You can write to them through their agent or their publisher. So, thinking outside those normal avenues, what if you have kids and you're struggling with finding time to write? Get help with childcare if you need it. If you have writer friends with kids, why don't you trade off childcare? Book a writing retreat before or after a busy time ahead. What if the holidays are coming? Whenever you might be seeing this not in August of 2018, and these readings can work anytime. So what if you read this and it's December or November or something, or you have your kids' birthdays coming, or school is starting again? That's true, and it's going to be a busy time. Book a retreat before or after to catch up or to get ahead. But basically, the Three of Wands is a wonderful card of opportunity. So the message here is be confident and dream big. The river also implies travel. So in keeping with the idea of thinking big, why don't you consider going on a writing retreat or going to a conference overseas, abroad somewhere? Why not? They have scholarships. Just explore it. It doesn't hurt to explore that option. Go for it is basically what I'm saying. So be bold and take a leap of faith. So if you are checking out here, thanks for watching. But I hope you'll stay because, like I said, cards 1 and 2 are very, very similar. So let's see what card 3 is. If you pick the rose quartz, let's see what card 3 is. Oh my gosh, this is hilarious. I'm sorry, I think this is funny. This is so funny. These cards all have the same imagery. People standing high up, looking down over a huge vista of blue sky and puffy clouds and water. This is amazing. This is pretty cool. I'm not sure. This is, not that I've been reading tarot for a long time, but in my own explorations of tarot, when I've read for myself or just for fun for friends and stuff, this has never come up. So, wow. Okay. So that's interesting. Okay. So I'm not going to get too sucked into that. Let's get on with the reading. So if you've been here all along, as mentioned in the previous reading, number 1, wands mirror consciousness and urge you to take action. And that's hilarious. I'm sorry, I'm still getting sucked into... wait, that's not what I mean to say. I'm still getting sucked into wands. So, but I wanted to, in keeping with the whole 3-card spread here, wands mirror your consciousness and urge you to take action. Now, if you're just joining me for card 3. So card 3, cups, they are your emotional state, their relationships, they show up to remind you to pay attention to your intuition when making decisions. And yeah, I'm going to suggest that you watch this whole reading if you only are just joining me in card 3 because of the I can't talk, sorry, braces, similarities with the other cards. But to catch you up, the other 2 cards talked about being open, exploration, making progress, both involved planning with your writing. And this card says, don't forget to listen to your intuition. Make a plan, but when you get a hit of intuition, a thought, an idea to make a change, take time to explore that. So, like, think of it a different way. If you are traveling and you only stick to your itinerary, these things that you planned ahead of time from a book, because you've never been to this place before and you're only going by what the book says, maybe the book says, here's the 3-day itinerary in London, you're still going to see some good things, but you're going to miss the off the beaten path surprises that you discover on your own when you go off the itinerary. And I'm going to paraphrase a quote by the poet Robert Frost here. It's a very famous quote. No surprise for you, no surprise for the reader. So if you're not feeling it, the reader's not going to feel it. So don't always stick to the itinerary. If you get a hit, you get some intuition about, oh, I could change this, or what if the book went off in this direction, or I did this in the poem, just, follow it. No siren or bell is going to go off saying you're doing something wrong. This is a card of confidence, insight, and happiness. And I want to just take a look at the imagery here for a moment because I think it mirrors what I'm saying. She has this somewhat form-fitting dress on. I have a fly in here. It's driving me crazy. She has this very sort of form-fitting dress on, but she also is wearing this purple scarf that's flowing freely in the wind. And she has one foot on the ground. So she's stable, secure, she's grounded, but she also has one foot lifted. So she's ready to make a leap. She's ready to leap based on her intuition. Also, there's no more peaceful river here. Before there was, even though card number 1 had the ocean, it was very still and calm, and the waves were very small and calm. And this was a peaceful river just flowing along. But here, we have giant high waves swelling and crashing in. So creativity is really flowing here. Your project is in full swing, so you want to stay in the groove, and you will be supported by the energy and the flow of these waves coming in, and your writing will have power, so let that carry you. Also, the page here, she has a cup in her hand, and she's about to toast and drink from the cup. That's that flow of inspiration. She's going to drink from it. But here's a fish popping out, and the fish is the surprise. This is your hit of intuition. This is the surprise I talked about. No surprise for you, no surprise for the reader. So even if that surprise looks odd and unfamiliar and crazy, and I know that if a fish popped out of my mug of tea right now, I would be very surprised. That would be very, very odd. Don't say no. Don't say no. Don't say, oh, that's too crazy. That's too weird. No, I'm not going to do that. It's showing up for a reason. And don't say no because you don't want to invest the time. You don't get to do that. Don't do that. Even if it, quote unquote, sets you back in your mind, or if it takes a little bit of time, a few days, a week, whatever. Intuition comes for a reason. There's always something to be learned from it. Even if you don't use even if you veer off and write a totally different poem or a totally different scene and you don't end up using it, or you put the poem aside because you don't feel like it's ready yet, that moved you forward. I say this all the time, and I said it in my last reading that I posted a couple of days ago, where it seemed like people needed encouragement because they were worried about failing. There's no such thing as failure. Everything you do moves you forward, teaches you something. It's practice. That matters. It's important. There's no such thing as failure. So don't say no. if a fish pops up. Let's just call intuition a fish from now on. If a fish pops up, don't say no. This is creative energy, bursting forth from your consciousness. This is a gift. It's a gift. You wouldn't, ignore a gift, would you? So what else does a fish symbolize? I think probably what we all think of is, if I make this leap, I'll be a fish into this intuition, into this intuitive hit. I'll be a fish out of water. But ask yourself, is that true? The fish is not out of water. The fish is still in water. It's in a cup of water, not the ocean, but it's still okay, and you're still okay. So you may receive also wonderful, unexpected news. You may feel really emotional, because that's what cups are as you write, and that is fantastic. Don't try to push it down. It will come through in your writing, and that's a great thing. If you don't care, if you don't feel, your characters, your words, your images will be dead and flat. Your emotions are a magic spark, and they're important. The Page of Cups is free, creative, inspired. The imagination of the page is free. So just, keep that in mind. When you're writing, it's just you and you're writing. There's nothing else. There's nobody else. None of that matters in those moments. I guess what I want to say right now is that it's a really wonderful thing to be a writer. Worlds, I'm going to say this wrong. Let me be more careful because of braces. Words build worlds. How amazing is that? That's really cool. So enjoy it. Even when it's hard and what you think is crap is coming out. You are writing. You are creating. Think about what a gift that is. Like, what a powerful gift that is. And that makes me think of this hilarious scene in a Steve Coogan movie. It's Hamlet 2 with Elizabeth Shue. I know, where has Elizabeth Shue been since Adventures of Babysitting and Leaving Las Vegas, right? But she's in this movie, and Catherine Keener. And there's this, oh my gosh, hilarious montage of Steve Coogan writing and the process of writing. It's called Act 3, The Creative Process is the title of it, of this section of the movie. And he's crying and laughing over what he's writing. It's so funny because it's true. So I'm going to link that scene below in the description box. So you have to play it and watch it, and just play it whenever you feel like you need a hit from it, because it's so funny. It's so funny. And besides, there's too much angst in the world, y'all. They're just, come on, just be that inner child, be free, have a free imagination, use your intuition, enjoy the writing, feel joyful about it, even when you feel like it's sucking. I want to mention one more thing, and that's fashion, because I noticed these as as these cards unfolded, and I don't really mean fashion, but just note the color. Oh, there's my stupid fly. I'm gonna have to smudge these cards extra now. So look at what everybody's wearing. So blue, the blue here is the color of the throat chakra. So pay attention to voice in your writing. And this to me means maybe there are a lot of first-time writers or writers just starting out a project, or maybe you don't have a lot of writing behind you. You've written a few things and you're feeling a little unsure of yourself. Maybe you guys pick number one, I don't know. But even if you're starting a new project, you're still figuring out the voice. So pay attention to your voice in your work. Our orange here is the sacral chakra. This is the seat of passion and creativity. So I think we talked about staying passionate and motivated for that card. And those things will see you through. And here, indigo. Indigo is the color of the crown chakra, your connection to inspiration. So that's very, very appropriate. Let's pull one more card, just because this is so odd, in a good way, to have all these very similar cards. So I want to see if there's anything else. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. I hate people who look at the card and laugh when you haven't seen it yet. Sorry, but I can't help it. Okay. I'm going to put this here for a second so you can see it. It's the Three of Cups, which is awesome in so many ways. Okay. 3 figures here, 3 figures here. And you can't see it very well because the lighting isn't awesome. But though this outfit, this dress, excuse me, looks purple, there's orange in it. It's mostly purple shading on the folds, but the dress itself is orange. This dress is lavender. This dress is blue. I'm not making this shit up, you guys. So all the colors are represented again here. The Three of Cups is community, creativity, and collaboration and celebration. All the good C's. And they look like the muses, don't they? They're wearing laurel wreaths, which is victory and success. This is a card of abundance and accomplishment. I think that's pretty clear. And the beauty around us if we open up to it. So good heavens, everyone, drop everything and get back to writing. If you're not writing, go write right now. I mean, apparently August is a powerful month for writers and poets. Make the most of it. This is such a great reading. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for all of us. I need to get back to work myself, so that's really amazing. I will stare at these on my own after and be amazed by them. I won't take up your time doing that. If you'd like a personal reading, for you or your writing project, like your book, whether it's poetry or prose, it doesn't matter, or a character in a story, hit me up. We can do those. Those are really fun. I also do tarot readings general tarot readings, and I send them back in the form of a poem. So I'm actually creating a unique poem for you. I'd be happy to do that. Those are also really fun. If you need a manuscript editor or you just have some basic questions, I'm here. Email me for any and all of these things at therealwriter@gmail.com. So again, this is a really good reading for August for writers, and that includes poets, songwriters, playwrights, essayists, anyone and everyone who writes. So take advantage of this time, find some time and space, and write. I hope it goes well. Happy writing, everyone. Thank you so much for watching.